वैसे तो ये कहानी एक इमिग्रेंट है, क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पर हिंदुस्तान के अंदर में रहा, यहाँ पर मेरी एजुकेशन सारी यहाँ पर हुई, और उसके बाद में मैं इंग्लैंड गया, मैं अमेरिका गया, वहाँ पर अच्छा काम चल रहा था बिल्कुल अच्छी तरह से। लेकिन जो जुडिशरी के अंदर जो प्रॉब्लम वहाँ पर मैंने देखी है वो बिल्कुल ही गलत है, क्योंकि डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री के अंदर इस तरीके का हो सकता है अमेरिका में। और अमेरिकन गवर्नमेंट भी इसके अंदर उनकी भी साजिश है, क्योंकि वो लूज नहीं करना चाहते तो केस, पर्टिकुलरली कोई इमिग्रेंट हो या कोई भी हो। तो इसलिए ये बड़ी मुश्किल की बात है कि एक बार उसके अंदर आ जाते हैं तो बाहर ही नहीं निकल सकते। वहाँ पे कई लोग होंगे जो जेल के अंदर फंसे हुए हैं और जेल के अंदर 20 साल 30 साल 40 साल तक रहे हैं। तो उसका मैसेज लोगों को देना चाहिए और उनको बताना चाहिए कि ये ऐसा बिल्कुल गलत है और जिस तरीके से हो रहा है उसमें इम्प्रूवमेंट होना चाहिए। और मैंने बुक के अंदर लिखा है कि जो रिफॉर्म होने चाहिए हमारे जुडिशरी में, जैसे कि एफबीआई का रिफॉर्म, जैसे कि ग्रैंड जूरी का रिफॉर्म, जैसे कि प्री डील का जो सिस्टम है वो और कहीं पर नहीं है, ये अमेरिका के अंदर है। तो वो सब रिफॉर्म होना बहुत जरूरी है, नहीं तो ये बड़ी मुश्किल की बात है कि वहाँ जेल में लोग 15 20 साल 50 साल 30 साल इस तरीके से वहाँ पर रह रहे हैं। ये बिल्कुल गलत बात है एक डेमोक्रेसी के अंदर। तो इसी के लिए ये मैंने बुक लिखी है और इसी के लिए फिल्म बना रहे हैं इसके लिए। तो उससे कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट हो, क्योंकि यहाँ पर इंडिया में मेरा काम हमेशा यही था कि लोगों को अवेयरनेस लाने का ड्रग अब्यूज के बारे में, HIV स्मोकिंग। आप देखिए, अगर आपको मौका मिले तो यूट्यूब पर आप देखिए ये अबाउट द इविल्स ऑफ टोबैको। जो काम मैंने करीब 30 साल पहले किया था आज भी बिल्कुल सही है वो काम, और उससे कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ। ये नहीं है कि हमारे करने से बहुत इम्प्रूवमेंट हो जाएगा, लेकिन कोई भी थोड़ा इम्प्रूवमेंट होता है तो
जी, आपने बोला कि आपके साथ कॉमन मैन के साथ ही हो सकता है। आप कॉमन तो बिल्कुल नहीं हो, आप पद्मश्री हो। यू बीन देयर डन दैट। अगर ये आपके साथ हो सकता है तो किसी के साथ भी हो सकता है।
नहीं, आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रही है कि किसी के साथ भी हो सकता है। वैसे मेरा रोल वहाँ पर तो जब मैं देखता हूँ तो एक ऑर्डिनरी सिटीजन की तरह ही है। बहुत लोग हम यहाँ से गए इंडिया से, सभी लोग बहुत अच्छी तरक्की कर रहे हैं, सबकी फैमिली थोड़े बड़े अच्छे स्टूडेंट बन के निकल रहे हैं। वहाँ पे इंडिया में उनका बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है, वहाँ अमेरिका में बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है इसका। तो उस हिसाब से ऑर्डिनरी है। लेकिन मेरे को हमेशा आई लव इंडिया, बट इंडिया नेवर लव्ड मी। I always kept on coming here. I kept on doing the work here, and it is an honor that I got the Padmashri. It was the country rewarded me by that. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful to the people of the country. I never forgot that I got everything what I am today because
मैं डॉक्टर साहब डॉक्टर बोथरा को, मैं और अली को, उनकी वाइफ को मैं बहुत सालों से जानता हूँ, 30-32 सालों से जानता हूँ। मैं पहली बार जब मिशिगन गया था, डिट्रॉइट गया था, तो उनके घर पर ही ठहरा। डॉक्टर साहब बहुत अपार्ट फ्रॉम अपनी फील्ड के जो माहिर हैं, मगर सोशल वर्क भी बहुत करते हैं। तो डॉक्टर साहब का ये कहना कि मैं ऑर्डनरी, यू आर नॉट एन ऑर्डनरी, very extraordinary human being, not in terms of your field that you are a doctor, but you have also done a lot of social work in India. That's why you were awarded the Padmashri as a government of India. So when I heard the news of that you've been taken by the FBI on the basis of whatever the charges were, I was horrified. And now that you have got of it, 3 साल आपको जेल में रखा गया, उसमें 3 साल आपको लौटा नहीं सकते। मेरे लिए हम डेवलप कंट्रीज को बहुत इल्ज़ाम लगाते हैं कि यहाँ पर कोई सिस्टम नहीं होता, मगर मुझे लगता है कि दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी जो खुशहाल कंट्री माना जाता है अमेरिका में जब ऐसा हो सकता है तो कुछ भी हो सकता है। मैं आपको बधाई देना चाहता हूँ कि आपने करेज दिखाया, आपने अपने सच को अपने साथ रखा, आपने गिल्टी प्लीड नहीं किया कि बहुत सारे लोग इन हालात में। ऑल्सो when you're not a criminal, you're not used to the system. You are running your life as a very respectable person. You are a doctor. When you are put in behind hours, then it's an alien country you are in. The faces in the jail, the faces in the cell are not the faces that you are used to. You are limited. I must applaud your courage and your sense of truth. You're out there with your friends in India and Mumbai, and I should wish you good luck. And friends, go and read this book. It may not be your story, but it will give you a lot of truth about your own life. Thank you.
Thank you.
तुषार क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप?
Like I said earlier, this is my 36th year of knowing, 37th year of knowing Dr. Saab. And no matter how much we describe what he went through, we won't be able to do justice to what he actually went through. Because he can only, I mean, it's something that is indescribable. And I think the book is going to do justice to that. So, all I have to say is that hopefully we're able to get inspired and imbibe a little bit of the courage that he has shown. That tough times don't last, but tough people do. I think that is the biggest learning and the biggest lesson that one can get from his experience. Because I've seen him in his glory, and only the universe knows
You will be more glorious now.
why he had to go through what he went through. But I think the reason he went through that is for us to set an example for all of us to never give up, no matter what the circumstances are.
So what I need to also say that brown lives matter.
Yes.
The city not having the facilities and not having the schools and colleges or the electricity, we were very rich in our family. My mother and father and my brothers and sisters, it was a very close knit family. So we were very rich in that particular sense. And I was always had high ambition, being there and high ambition that one day I will become a surgeon. And I don't know where it came from, but that was my thinking all along. So I went to the school, went to medical school in nearby city Bikaner, got my medical degree, went in Bombay. I always loved Bombay. I only heard of it. I never been to Bombay at that time. So I had to spend a year before I go to England because my thinking was always that I'll go to England and I'll do the FRCS, Fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons, and I'll become the surgeon. So I spent a year here in Bombay and came to know a lot of people because I was in Bombay Hospital and that was the premier hospital. So all the big people like Anupam Kher and others. They all came there. So I came to know a lot of people and I went England. I stayed there 5 years. I got my FRCS. The plan was that I'll come back and settle in Bombay and do my work here because I got my medical degree here, as I said, and my expense, as I recall, was something like 200 rupees a month, everything included. So I became a doctor in something like $2,000. So somebody paid for it. You don't become a doctor in $2,000, money, which my parents paid, of course. So somebody paid for it, and that always was in my mind. And who is that somebody? That somebody is government of India. That means people of India, the taxpayers. They paid for my education, and in return, I signed a paper before my admission that I will serve for 3 years in a village, in a rural area where they needed the doctors and nobody goes there. I did not keep that promise. That haunted me all along this time. And in fact, not only me, I should say that most of the people did not keep it because you have to go for post graduation. Being doctor and getting a degree is really nothing. You learn a lot of the things afterwards. And once you do that, then you are not needed in the village because all they want is a family doctor kind of thing. So whenever I got that opportunity, I came back and I did that, and I'll talk to you about that. After that, I went to America. I thought that I'll go there for a year because I heard a lot America was coming up. I heard a lot about it, a land of opportunity and all that kind of thing. So I thought I'll go for a year and go back to Bombay. But it really was a land of opportunity when I reached there and much more than that. So I decided that I'll stay there for a while before I go to Bombay. I was already a surgeon there because I had the degree from England. Then I did the degree in America. and I'm a full-fledged surgeon. I can start practice and people will come and the things will go all right. I thought if I go to India, it will take me another 10 years. I was very young. I became surgeon I became a doctor when I was 21. I became a surgeon when I was 25. And I looked even younger than that. I said, nobody will come to me for surgery if I went there and started my practice. So I thought I will spend some years here and then I will go. I kept on thinking that all along, but it never happened. It's very difficult because you have other obligations by then. I did well in America. I did very well. I became chairman of the Department of Surgery. I became president of the medical staff. Life was good. I came back. I married for me. Later, I came back again and I adopted. Where is Sonia? Ah, okay, yeah. I adopted Sonia, and my life was very good. At that time, I thought that I have to go back and do something now that I'm in a position to do. So I came back to Bombay. I had few people I knew because I was here before, and what I wanted to do was the kind of medical issues in which we needed the awareness of the people, things like drug abuse, things like HIV/AIDS, smoking, alcoholism. These are not really diseases. These are basically a behavioral problem, and if you can educate the people and make them understand, and moreover, it is a cultural thing, and it takes decades. It cannot happen overnight. So I wanted to work in that film. To do that, I needed two things, and do it on a bigger scale that it can make some difference. Otherwise, you can do little things, which is good, you feel good about it, but you really can't make any difference. So I knew that I need two things. I need the media and I need the government. Without that, it cannot be done. I made a film here about 40 years ago called Mehndi. The purpose of making the film was not really the film. I wanted to become part of India again so that I can do this work. And it so happened that I met few people, few very, very capable people. And in particular, I'll give one name, that was Sunil Dutt. And he was my mentor. It was a meeting of the mind. He wanted to do the same kind of things that I thought that I want to do it. And I also met many other people in the industry. I met also Anupam, and we put together a program that we can work on it. And it did work for 10 years. We kept on doing something. Sunil Dutt took me to Rajiv Gandhi. He was the prime minister at that time. Then I continued working with Narasimha Rao, and the government was also keen on doing something. Film industry wanted to do something. And eventually, with the technology coming, and we can make digitally, we can educate the people. Now we can reach the masses. So we made many documentaries, and in one of the documentary, which you can still see it on YouTube, the title was Evils of Tobacco. I made it under the banner of Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. It was done by Balaji Telefilms. Anupam took part in that one too, because I knew nobody want to see me. They want to see the film actors and big people. Hmm? Yeah, Tushar. Oh, yeah, I did not even see him. You are sitting here. All right, yeah, I did not see you. Sorry. Yeah, Tushar was there in that one. So we made three, four things like that and distributed all over the schools in the country. And I could do that now through Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Government was helping, film industry was helping. So I had a group of people that we can do that, and we did see some difference after about another 10 years. So for 20 years, I was coming here 1 month every year. That was my holiday time. In fact, my wife would even start coming with me that it is not really a holiday. You call it a holiday, you take us there, and all the day you are busy with these kind of activities. It did make some difference. I wouldn't say a whole lot, but it did make some difference. In 2001, it was President Narayanan and government of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and I'm grateful to them and grateful to the country that I was given Padmashri at that time. Uh, Things were going real good. I was doing what I wanted to do. My practice was good. Uh, Life was very good. So far, so good. And then everything came crashing down. One morning, got up at 5 o'clock in the 4:30 in the morning. That is the usual time I get up. I get ready, I go to work, I leave home at about 5:15, something like that. One morning I got out of my house and an FBI Federal Bureau investigation, you all know about it. They blocked my car as I got out from my home. So I got out of the car. I said, "What is the issue? What is the problem?" They said, "We are FBI. Are you Dr. Raj Bothra?" I said, "Yes, I am. We have the arrest warrant for you." I said, "For what?" I never had any other issue of any kind throughout my entire 50 years in America. They said, "We cannot tell you anything. We have the warrant, this is the warrant, and we're going to arrest you." So I knew that there is no point in arguing. I said, "Can I inform my wife and daughter?" Because I was already out of the house. In fact, he told me, "Luckily, you are out of the house." Because at 7 o'clock, we break the door and come there with the rifles pointing at you. This is how we go. And the same thing happened to the 5 other doctors, those who were indicted with me. I was the boss, the other people were working for me, and with me, I should say. And so I knew that I cannot argue with them. And so I talked to Pami came out, Renjam came, Sonia came out, and they were in tears. She said she will call the attorney, and FBI told me that the judge in the morning will tell you what is it about. So I go there, I'm presented to the judge, all 6 people, one by one. The 5 people were given the bail on the same morning, and that is the usual thing. If they go home and then the case will continue and whatever happens in the trial. But they did not give me the bail on the first day. Exactly the same kind of thing, what it is for the other people. And they had a flimsy reason for it, that you are a flight risk. That if we give you the bail, and we are talking about the indictment of $500 million, that you have defrauded the government, 400, to be exact, $450 million, that you have defrauded the government on the medical payments, and the narcotic distribution, that you have prescribed that many kind of medications, and if you do that, you will run away to India. That was a fig leaf. That they can ask to tell for anybody that you are if they want to keep. Looking back, they kept me only for one reason, that they can break me. If they keep me long enough, they can force me to take a plea deal, meaning that you accept that you are guilty, we will either let you go, or it will be reduced kind of sentence and that kind of thing, and we can break you. And that's the only reason they kept me for 3.5 years in the prison, which is against the US Constitution. That if you arrest somebody and if you keep them in prison, you have to have a trial very, very soon. You cannot keep people in the prison without a trial. But it took 3.5 years. 9 times I was presented to we filed for the bail. I went to the judge, and 9 times he refused the bail. And I was 3.5 years in the prison till I had my day in the court. Right in the beginning, I had realized that there is no way out. The culture there in the judicial system is such that they have got to win at any cost. It doesn't matter whether it is right or wrong, fair, unfair, moral, immoral, it doesn't matter. They just have to win. And particularly from somebody like me, who is nobody. There are thousands of immigrants there. They are all doing well. And how could a government of United States, all powerful, all resourceful, anything they can do what they want to do, and how could they lose to somebody who is really nobody with the brown color and coming from India? So that became a challenge. And government what they should have done when they realized that there is really no case, they should have dropped it. Instead, they doubled down on it. They made it a prestige issue. They advertised in the newspapers that this is the biggest Medicare fraud case in the country. And this is the prestige of the United States government behind it. And they could not do that. I don't know where it comes from, and that is really the reason of writing the book. That is really the reason for making a film, making people aware that this is what is going on there in the judiciary. I had my day in the court, 7 weeks of trial. Everything was clean. When the government talked about $450 million, it was basically $45 million with the staff of 130 people and 10 doctors and the whole group. I had a kind of entire hospital, but I was the single owner of that. Other people were working with me. That was entirely wrong what they did. And these are the government figures. I don't have to prove it. It is the government, those who are telling you what they are paying me. Second thing they had the issue was about the narcotics that we were prescribing, and we prescribed some 2 million pill of narcotics, and people were selling the narcotics and all that kind of nonsense. That again is every single medication that we write, every single pill we write, it is reported to the state of Michigan, and they know exactly what is going on. What happened is this, that everything the government did was giving half the information. Like in narcotics, a usual practice is 500 patients or 1,000 patients. We had 25,000 patients. So obviously our billings will be that many times more. Obviously, our prescriptions will be that times more. They never said that thing in the when they indicted us. Just gave the number of people and the media that kind of thing, and everywhere in the newspaper, in the television, that's what it was. So I had my day in my day in the court. After 7 weeks of trial, when the real facts came out, and as I said, I was only relying on the jury. I knew that is the only place where I can win. Otherwise, the whole thing is totally corrupt. I won 54 counts against me, 20 years for each count. For me, said she can't even count how many years. Maybe 1,000 years you will be in prison if you are convicted. In the end, the jury deliberated, they discussed, and within hours they came out with a verdict. They handed it over to the judge. The judge had little hard time reading it because he couldn't believe what it was. Count one. He waited 30 seconds. It felt like an eternity. He said, not guilty. And then 54 times he said, not guilty, and I was sent home. But it took 3.5 years. Now, there are many disturbing questions in this. And the disturbing question number one, as soon as I came home, I got the first call from a friend of mine here. And he said, Raj, I want to ask you only one question. How they are going to give you back the 3.5 years of your life that they have taken away? They have taken away from Pami that 3.5 years. They have taken away from Sonia that those 3.5 years. And what they went through, it is totally unbelievable. That you will see in the book and that you will see in the film whenever it comes out. They had no right to torture them in this way. They had much more difficulty and much more problem than I had in the prison. And I can clearly say that if it is not for them, I would have been dead in the prison. And that's what really the government was hoping for. The day of the trial, they took me to another prison. I did not have my legal papers or anything like that. They put me in a medical unit. It was basically a torture. I had no food for 1 week. Going in the prison, going in the trial, I don't know what is going on. I'm physically not capable. Mentally, I was still all right. I thought they're doing it because I cannot be prepared for the trial and they can win by default My attorney told me that no, it is not that. They were hoping that you will die, that you will die in the prison and they can declare victory. It came to that level. So there has got to be something seriously wrong. One thing, that how they're going to give me these 3.5 years. Second thing, for the bail, about the bail. Everybody went home with the same kind of charges. How can you keep somebody for 3.5 years in the prison without a trial? The US Constitution, the Sixth Amendment, mandates that the trial has got to be done in a very limited time if you're keeping somebody pre-trial in the prison without giving them the advantage of going to the court and going in front of the jury. So that is the second question. The third question, two doctors pleaded guilty out of the group. Nothing related to the work they were doing with me in my practice. They had some issues in the past of their own, but also their family. It is not easy to continue to fight, financially, mentally, and every way you can think of that you cannot, very difficult to do that. So they pleaded guilty to doctors. And the government in turn gave them that we will give you a lighter sentence, and what you have to do is to come and be a witness against your colleagues, against the other doctors, and throw them under the bus. And that's the only way we can give you some lighter sentence and leniency. Now, these two doctors pleaded guilty. They did not spend one day in prison. I'm very happy for them. I'm very happy for their family. And they were good people. They did not spend one day in prison. And I refused to plead guilty. I said that will never happen. I'm never going to do. I was ready to compromise if there is any other thing. But pleading guilty, I'm not going to do. Because this is the question of honor. My honor, my family's honor, my country's honor, where I came from. And this is never going to happen. They said you will die in the prison. I said, so be it. I'll die in the prison, but this will not happen. And apart from that, if you want me to make some compromises, I'm ready to do that. But they wanted only the thing that if I plead guilty, if I fall, everybody else will fall and they will declare victory. And to the extent, even my attorneys, to the extent, because 0.03% win from the government, not 0.3, 0.03. So it really is height of arrogance to think that you are one of them. But I could not take it that I can plead guilty. They went to my daughter, they went to Pami and said that he will never come home. If you don't plead guilty, he will come home in a black bag. Means he will come home dead. And they had my daughter write a letter, handwritten letter, and send it through my attorneys because she was so scared to death that I will never come home. And that letter, we'll read it today, later on, maybe she will read it for you. She is begging me that you plead guilty because I want you home. And then we can deal with it. I said, how can we deal with it later on? If I plead guilty, I'm a convicted felon for life. There is no other remedy in that. And she is the only one person who told me that never plead guilty. We're going to win. Pami told me that no, plead guilty because nobody wins from the government. Not that she doubted anything, but nobody wins from the government. At least you will be able to come home. So it was a kind of thing that was going on. And she wrote me a letter, sent a handwritten letter to me, and I replied to her. It was very, very difficult days. And, as the wishes of the friends, family, and mercy of God, that you can survive this kind of thing. My wife Pami had a cardiac arrest, not just heart attack, a cardiac arrest. She was in hypothermal, medically induced coma. She was on a respirator. They would not let me go for one day to see her. So the things that my younger brother died when I was there. So the kind of things happened. It is very difficult to describe what was going on. Uh, in the end, I won. I won fair and square. That is the American system. But before that, the damage was done. and how are they going to repay for that damage or assure me that it is not going to happen to other people. That is what this book is about. Uh, I can read a couple of pages and thereafter I will give back the microphone to you. Do you want me to read a couple of pages?
Yeah, if you would like to read the pages, but prior to that, I would like Pamiji to say a few words.
I'm Pammi. Hello, I'm his wife. 4 years of my life when he was in jail, it was very, very hard. I was going to each every temple, mosque, church, everywhere, and just praying to God that whatever it is, like usually Indian women, they tell that for the husband ki life ke liye, for the long life. And I just kept fighting with God. Either you take him away or bring him back to me, but don't send him back in the jail because what he was going through, so much misery, I couldn't bear it. And it's better that he doesn't suffer and he's gone. But it was very, very hard for us to survive like that.